Hey, stressed out mama, are you overthinking everything? Are you letting everything freak you out, overwhelm you, and cripple you in fear, anxiety, and stress, especially when it comes to your kids? Don't worry, so are 99% of other moms. I'm Sarah, and I am a mom just like you. I am here to give you the tips and tricks to simplify, de-stress, and unwind, because motherhood doesn't have to be so hard, and you aren't alone. Grab a cup of coffee or pour a glass of wine and join me every week as we talk all things mom. I will share personal stories, what works for me, and yes, we will even chat with other real-life mamas just like you. It's time to unwind. Hello, mama friends. Hope you are having a fantastic Wednesday. Today is going to be my live about schedules and routines. And I wanted to go into a little bit more detail with you all about what they are, why they're important, how they can help you in your day-to-day life, and then how to create them and start implementing them into your life. So, what is a schedule? A schedule is the big picture of your day. So, we have breakfast and we do things, we have lunch, we have dinner, we go to bed. It's that kind of big flow of the day or even the week, Monday through Friday. If you go to work, your schedule is that on Monday mornings you go to work from say 8 to 5 or whatever. You come home, you have dinner, you go to bed, and you do it. That's what you do Monday through Friday. That's the schedule. The routine is the steps that get you through the schedule. So you wake up in the morning, you go downstairs, you eat breakfast, you brush your teeth, you get dressed, whatever you do in the morning. Those are the little steps. Maybe you have a bedtime routine. So, it's time to go to bed. So you're going to start your routine for bed, which is putting your pajamas on, brushing your teeth, with kids reading a book, singing songs, whatever your routine is what's getting you to the big next step of the schedule. So why do we need schedules? Adults need schedules as much as kids do. So I just want to put that out there because I know there's so many adults who feel like they don't need a schedule and who are like, oh yeah, I just go with the flow and whatever. And that's great. But number one, when you have kids, it's not as great. You need to have the schedule for them and yourself. But adults who kind of go with the flow and aren't really scheduled and routine oriented tend to be the ones who miss events, are late to things. Maybe you feel like you're constantly stressed and you're constantly trying to catch up and treading water and you never can win because there's just no structure, right? So it provides a structure for us. And I have to laugh because my sister is very much, she thrives on schedules and routines like we all do, but she's very bad at creating them for herself and her family. And when we went to visit her, because I have kids, we followed a very strict schedule. I like to stay on our schedule and keep it consistent. And we had a really great week and she had a really great week. And we both were commenting on how this was one of our best trips and best visits that we've had together. And it's because we had a schedule every single day. We would get up, we would go for a hike, we would eat lunch, we would have a rest time, we would take the dogs to play, we would make dinner, eat dinner, go to bed, put the kids to bed, watch a show, go to bed, whatever. And it wasn't like a crazy schedule or anything, but it was very consistent. It was every single day that week. Schedules and routines, they make us feel safe and they make our kids feel safe. And when we feel safe, everybody is a lot more relaxed. It reduces your stress, their stress, and anxiety of anticipating what's going to happen next. What are we doing? What's going on? What's this? Kids are constantly growing and changing, and there's so much change in their life because of this. They're learning, they're growing, there's school, there's activities, all these things, so much change. And it can be really stressful if you have no set expectation of what's going on, or they can't anticipate the next step. They're just living in this constant chaos and it stresses them out. And this is where we then see behavior problems come into play, or the power struggle where they are fighting you constantly and you feel like you're constantly butting heads trying to get them to put their shoes on or to brush their teeth or go get out the door, because there was no expectation. They don't understand what's coming next because it's not consistent and there wasn't a schedule or routine in place. And I've said this a couple times now, it sets an expectation. The expectation is that we have to brush our teeth before we go to bed. If you do it consistently and routinely, they just know that that's part of it. And so there's no power struggle of fighting them to get them to brush their teeth, because it just is. It's part of the routine. It builds confidence and independence. When they know the structure of the day, the schedule and the routine, they don't need you to constantly be harping on them and telling them what to do. They be like, oh, you say, hey, it's bedtime. It's time to go to bed. Okay. Got to go brush my teeth. Got to put my jammies on, whatever it is. Kids like to feel empowered. They like to feel like they're in control. They like to feel like they're not just living in a dictatorship. You know, as adults, we wouldn't want somebody telling us what to do constantly. Kids are the same way. They're just little adults, little humans, and we're just training them up to be big humans. And so building that confidence, building that independence, building that structure, teaching them how to go throughout their day and navigate their day in a controlled sense, so that when they're older, they have those skills to be able to use them as well and be successful, stress-free, relaxed adults. And then finally, it offers stability for them, and it offers stability for us. One of the biggest things for us is, you know, in times of change, say you are moving. I have a friend who just moved and her son has been struggling with it. And one of the things I asked her was, do you have a schedule? Are you sticking to a schedule? And she's like, well, no, it's hard. We're like unpacking and this and that and the other. His world was turned upside down. And if you have a schedule of your day that you're going through, and you keep on that when you move or when you travel or when something changes, daddy's not home because he's traveling for work or something, there's that consistency and that structure for them that they feel like they're in control and that their whole world hasn't just flipped upside down on them. So that sense of stability for them is really important. And for you to get through a week, I know when my husband travels for work, getting through a week when I have a really strict schedule, it's so much easier and a smoother process to get through the week. One of the other stories, and I think I talked about this on my main page last week when I talked about traveling with toddlers, my kids know that after lunch for their rest time, they get to watch a show. And we went on an 11.5-hour car trip. And on that trip, they didn't ask for the tablets at all. We left at 3 a.m. and they didn't ask for them until 1 o'clock after lunch, which is when every single day they get to watch a show, and they knew they had the shows and the tablets. And they watched their shows for like an hour, which is what they get at home. And then they were like, okay, we're all done. Here you go. And we still had 5 more hours of the trip. So we're in this long car trip. And because we kept such a consistent schedule, it wasn't even a question. This is just what we do. We have our rest time and we watch our show after lunch. And just because we were in the car, it was no different. So that's how much a schedule and a routine can really help your daily life with kids. Now, the other thing with that I think is also very interesting is it gives you an opportunity not only to have your own time alone and teach your kids independence and go play by yourself, but it also gives you opportunities to put little rituals in there where you can have little bonding moments. So you have a bedtime routine where you can sit down and you can read the books and we brush the teeth or comb the hair or whatever. Then you have those moments where when you have those moments that you can spend that quality time with your kids, but it's scheduled in so you don't feel like you're missing it because you're constantly scrambling to keep up. Now, how do we implement a schedule if you're a person who hasn't done it? Now, a lot of us naturally do it. Even if you don't realize you're doing it. Obviously, we get up in the morning and we eat breakfast and we brush our teeth and do the things. But to have a more concrete schedule, number one, write it down. whether you write it down for you, whether you do like I talked about yesterday and you have a visual for the family to see, or both, whatever works, put it on paper. Putting it on paper really helps you just stick to it and it be clear for everybody. And then what you want to do is you first want to put the big events. So we get up in the morning, we eat lunch at noon, we eat dinner when daddy gets home at 5:30, bedtime is at 7. Maybe it's going to work and when you have to work, things like that you want to put in there. The big concrete things throughout your day and throughout your week. And then you can fill in the gaps. So for our schedule, we get up in the morning and we eat breakfast. And then because we don't have places to go right now, it's summertime, it's quarantine, we don't do a whole lot. So we stay in our jammies and we eat our breakfast, we listen to some music, and then we go upstairs, we get dressed, brush our teeth, get ready for our day. And then we have playtime. And sometimes playtime is with mommy, sometimes it's not. There's no strict, this is what we have to do. Now, you can do that if you'd like and you're that kind of personality, but I like to keep it a little more free. So inside, outside, whatever. And then we always eat lunch somewhere between 12 and 12:30. And then rest time is at 1-ish, 1 to 2:30-ish, depending on the day. And they get to watch a show. And then after rest time, we have snack time. Then we have play time. And then I start cooking dinner around 4:30 usually. And Aaron gets off work. My husband gets off work at 5:15, somewhere in there. And so we eat right after that. After dinner, we go for a walk every day. Rain, snow, shine, anything. We go for a walk every day as a family. We have a snack or 6:30-ish before bed, and then 7 o'clock we do our bedtime routine. So bedtime routine, they know we go upstairs, we put our jammies on, we brush our teeth, we use the potty, we go to our rooms and read books in our bed because we had to implement that to wind Lucy down so she would go to sleep, and then we go to sleep. And then Aaron and I have our own time. So we have this strict schedule. I don't want to call it strict, but we have this schedule. You can see the overall flow of the day. You can see the routines within the day that kind of filter in, but there's flexibility. There's wiggle room. If we have, when we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, we had activities to go to, that would be filtered in the morning. Now it's playtime. When maybe we need to go to a doctor's appointment, or it's really nice and we feel like we want to go for a walk in the morning instead. There's room for flexibility, and you want to leave that in there and have that kind of ability. But it doesn't need to be, you still want that big picture. It doesn't have to be strict, but you still need to have an expectation of the day and where we're going to go and what's next, so that the kids can see that and be consistent with it. Do it. Now, the other thing is, when you start a routine, if you don't have a schedule and a routine in place and you're wanting to start one, be patient. It's going to take time for your kids to adjust to it. But once they adjust, you're going to see a huge difference in their behavior, in how they go through the day, and reducing the stress level of yourself, of your kids, all of those things. But starting to implement it, be patient, give a little grace to both yourself and to them, and include them in the process of making the schedule. Like I showed yesterday with our visual one, Austin told me the day, what do we do? What's the first thing we do in the morning? What do we do after that? And have them help you create the schedule, because then they're going to be more willing to implement the schedule and want to stick with the schedule and feel empowered to stick to the schedule. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you got some tips and understood why it's so important for everybody to have a schedule. If you have questions or comments or suggestions, or your own schedule that works for you want to share with everybody, go ahead and put them in the comments. Let me know. Let's start a dialogue about it. And I will talk to you all later. Probably next week I'll pop in live. So I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.